Good morning, Dr. Rebekah. This is Dr. Katina here with a teaching moment, and we are working towards having some Sunday morning chiropractic coffee clutches and prayer to start our weeks and check in and learn different things about how chiropractic impacts all of our lives. So, good morning, Dr. Rebekah. How are you today?
I'm well. How are
Tell
you?
me. I'm in my pajamas, sitting on my front porch, listening to the blue sky, filled with a lot of gratitude. Uh, what should we talk about today? What kind of questions come up in life? As a new practitioner, you're only in practice a couple of months. You spent 6 months out here at my office. And what are some of the things you learned that helped you step into opening your own practice?
Oh gosh, there was so much. um, so while being at your office, I think one of the huge things was connection with people, and uh, not being afraid to connect with them and to see the things that they struggle with, to help them work through it in their body and mind, um, and uh, just the fun and joy that comes from adjusting and exploring and approaching the body in a state of curiosity rather than kind of like probing and poking at it to see what will come up.
Is the roast beef done? Oh, is it tenderized? Yeah. It is such a live, vital being that we're touching.
Hmm.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
awesome. Yes.
and to just connect from a space of love, I think um, was huge. And I'm just being there for 6 months and like being around you. You're very grounded and in the adjusting, and whereas it kind of evened out my little bit of like flightiness and fear, and helped me learn to be grounded just by observing and being there every day, or in the office like 3 to 5 days a week, I think. So that was
Mhm.
neat. And trusting my hands and uh, trusting what I was feeling and going with where my hands were taking me was nice, because I think I started out in a place of a lot of insecurity and fear. Um, and so just practicing and learning and watching, was really huge to develop my uh, senses and to open awareness.
Mm.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. Those are all the things that I desire for my students.
Oh,
Because
excellent.
and because and our people. You said some big words there. Grounded, trust, and fear.
Hmm.
And so I think those are some things that we should open up our days with, because how do I begin? Well, we literally are to be grounded. We got to remember who we are and where we are.
Hmm.
And literally, if we just keep our breath rotating, almost as if it went around the world, it fills. Once it fills, it totally just rolls out and exhales. We want to be careful with our breath to not exhale and stay there on the exhale. Or maybe take a breath in and stay there and stay there. And oh my goodness gracious, what's going to happen next in my life? I gotta hold my breath. And do, oh my gosh. So grounding, grounding is hugely connected. Our breath, and remembering where our breath comes, that's our motor activity. Our motor activity, we're going to do brain body connection, and that will bring us groundedness. So as our breath continues all the time, going around the world, we literally, as we pause in those moments, we remember and we connect to who we are and where we came from. For me, that's my God. That's my Holy Trinity. That's my source. That is actually the basis of the triunity of the geometry of the tree of life that our hands are touching. And this biogeometric integration work that we're doing, there's a hummingbird right there. Ooh. Um, so you talk about the sacred geometry, and the sacred things happen around you. Because when we speak wisdom, the triunity, the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, the one God, the light source, the balance of the yin and the yang, it's all one. And that triunity ends up as a geometry in our body. And Dr. Sue Brown, our dear friend who's already in heaven, and mentor and teacher, who showed us this biogeometric integration, which for me is a sacred blueprint of God's breath moving through the tree of life on the human body. So it does look like this big tensegrity model or structure of chakras. When I'm working in someone's head, yeah, it's kind of purpley. On top is definitely that white light coming in. And this is purpley, and it's like a whole big star, and it's connected to your blue star and your pink green star. And so imagine each one of these balls all the way down. uh, we're like a tensegrity structure, um, light force balloon. And we're called to places where it might be a little impinged or twisted. And our hands actually go there and play with it to plump it up like a garden, to plump up its light. And then we're drawn to connect that to someplace else in the person. I love helping people remember how they are all healers, because inside of us, we are so drawn to touch the things that have a need and to help it to move along. And we're very much like St. Thomas's. And the reason we're like St. Thomas's is because we're willing to put our hands in the wound. That's really powerful. And when we're willing to do something, it overrides the fear, because we tap into trust. And continuing to move through things, whether it's fear, trust, or I'm stuck, okay, move through it. Do something. Make a different choice. I know I'm going on 52 tangents, but trust is just using your breath.
Mm-hmm.
That if I breathe in and I allow it, it'll roll out, like down the road, and then it rolls back up again because it wants to be filled. And we take our tensegrity structures, our chakras, our balloons, our harmonic, beautiful volumes of the body, which if you place them on the tree of life, and then if you were to push it down like an accordion, it would look like a mandala. There's so many times we look into people's cranium. Boy, there's so many hummingbirds right here. the the way the light comes down, that white light comes into the people's body, and it gets clustered and pinched in different positions. And are, we literally follow the dissonant tone with our hands, very much like a gardener knows how to till the soil, or a tracker knows how to find a pathway. We help people find pathways on their body, in their body, with their God, with their life, and with their moment. We help people get very present in their body. You had an interesting case today or this week, and it was about the big thing that's happening in our world right now, which is anxiety, because of all the stimulation that's happening on
Mm-hmm.
people. And not just from the outside, it's the food that we take on the inside collapses and affects um, the tones of our being and our health.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's so important to breathe that white light into all of ourselves, to just keep plumping it up. And in doing that, we're tapping into our source, because we are living on a three-legged stool. We got a body, a mind, and a spirit. And we got to work those three. We work our body, breathing it. Just breathe. Stay connected with it. Trusting. Our mind, that likes fear. And then it likes to shut down and shut our breath. So we start breathing again. And spirit. Oh, that's the leg we can always lean on. So
Oh, I just want to. So, three things that I find myself reflecting on, like daily. One was whenever Dr. Lou and you were
Dr. Lou
just
Corletto? Yep.
yes, Dr. Lou Corletto, and he was you were adjusting him, and then he commented on how you're one of the few that uh, have the courage to um, connect with his deep patterns, and that was just interesting to witness and to feel and to watch. um, and so I think about that pretty often. And then the second thing is you kind of made I forget where it was, but somebody asked you about second guessing, um, and you mentioned that it takes too much energy to second guess, and then and there's no time for that with when adjusting a patient. And so that really helped my perspective on second guessing. If I catch myself doing it, it's like, no, I can't. That just prevents me from serving them to the highest capacity.
Exactly. It's the chatter. It's the chatter. And that is what we learn to command
Hmm.
and disregard.
And then the
Excellent.
third is I'm not always going to know what to do. Um, and, and that's perfectly fine because I can just step back and ask God, and then He'll give me the discernment. So just
Oh,
taking the time to step away from a patient or from a situation, and to just take that time to pray and to ask has been pretty huge, um, and giving me confidence, because it's not really confidence in myself at all. It's just confidence in the gift that God has given me. Um,
yes.
and yeah, so
Rebecca, that is so eloquent. Oh,
oh,
tell
thanks.
us more. Tell us more. You learned a lot. You learned a lot about yourself growing up, helping people cross their bridges,
Hmm.
and and you're not afraid to ask the question. Um, so something that I find in all people that have suffered, that pain and that wound that has cracked into our matrix created an imprint. And the love and the tenderness that we apply to that crack to help it integrate back into the whole so it's not fragmented literally opens up doors and pathways for us to be able to hear, feel, touch, see, connect with those pathways in others. And
Hmm.
we literally, because we've already imprinted those gifts through our patterning and going through them and not being afraid. Fear is going to hold you back. Trusting lets you go through. That's that second guessing is fear. Trusting just pulls you, like you know how to ride the wave, and many waves are going to come. Okay, they don't stop. They're, and it's like,
No,
oh,
they
this,
don't.
yes. So there's many options. So to
Hmm.
sit there and analyze and get stuck in our head, oh, what a waste of
Yeah.
time. It's so much more fun to almost play sport with it. Oh, we can go this way. Oh, we can go that way.
Hmm.
We can be with it and play with it without judgment. We are encouraging each other along the pathway. And we chiropractors get to do it through touch. And in such a deep level, we touch their body, we touch their mind, we touch their spirit, we help it all connect. And then they make phenomenal choices and live fuller lives.
Yeah, and it's been so fun, yeah, to be able to see the
Mhm.
body on a different level and explore and be like as my senses begin to open and I'm able to observe and perceive the human body on a level that I never expected. So yeah, it's exciting and it's fun, and I mean it's intimidating too, but it's more exciting and fun than scary. Yeah.
Oh, it is
Mhm.
fun. The what else can we talk about? You described today with me earlier. You said, Katina, I had an interesting patient I wanted to ask you about, an interesting case. And you said there was this like thing on her
Mhm.
that was very heavy. And she was surprised that with the anxiety that she says she's been dealing with, she was able to come and drive herself at such a 19-year-old young girl. But God bless her, she made the strength and the decision that she was going to just keep breathing herself through it like you asked her to. And she got herself there. And this thing that was on her, describe it. Like,
Yeah.
why did it catch your eye? Or what did it
It
feel like?
so I mean, I had it felt like something I had experienced in the past, like the heaviness on my left shoulder. Um, and so I kind of perceived it with her. It was, I don't even know where I was at on her body, but there were two weighted blankets on her. And then I had a hand contact on her abdomen, and then more on her chest, just having her be and breathe with those. Getting the flow from her chest to her abdomen, and
Hmm.
then started unwinding her rib cage a little bit.
Good.
But there was a heaviness on her left shoulder. Um,
She was
I w-
face up.
yeah,
Okay.
and so yeah, I just played with that a little bit, and I was praying the whole time. Uh, Uh, and so I believe in the speaking of tongues, so I was doing that under my breath the whole time, and I think that really helped bring peace, God's peace to her. Um, and so yeah, but at her left shoulder there was a heaviness, and it went away after. Well, I mean, I prayed and took command over it, and then adjusted her C spine left C5
Did
ish.
you palpate it or did you lift under it?
I
Did
lifted
you,
under it.
okay. Did
Yeah.
it have a form in its own?
No, it was kind of. I mean, if I reflect back on it, it was kind of ovally, but
Okay.
it was. I couldn't really perceive it too much. It just looked like dark and heavy.
Okay.
Um,
So when you bumped into this thing, and if you hadn't have felt it in yourself and gotten free from such a thing
mhm,
and realized, oh, I need a little extra ammunition to go in with this and
mhm,
work with this. That awareness is magnificent because as we're adjusting, it allows us literally to bring God's strength into it.
mhm,
And the tones that you're doing, okay? Like I'm Orthodox, so it's very old Sanskrit tongues, Native American. You're
yeah,
toning, and as you're toning God's harmony through her chakras, this chunk of big clay that God made, and you're literally increasing her vibration, which allowed that thing to get her bigger is the best way to describe it. And then it was about
mhm,
just kind of lifting that off. Yes, it's never about destroying it or
mm,
it's about bringing the body back to safety, peace, increased strength, calm. And as you increase the tones, and you were toning her because that thing had a dissonant tone on her. That's what attracted you to it.
mhm,
And it may have felt like you were unlocking this thing. You were doing that, but you're also tuning her up, almost like homeopathy. We're literally tuning them up to the vibration of the thing they have to deal with so they can go, oh,
mhm.
and it unravels. Wasn't that a wonderful experience? That's what we do. We move
Yeah,
energy, we move through the matrix of the whole being.
yeah. It was definitely interesting and very. I was very honored to be able to help her through that. It was,
Hmm.
yeah.
Wow. That
Mhm.
was wonderful, Rebecca. I love that we get to do this chiropractic. And